Well, I guess when anybody loses their job, their employment, it's an incredibly traumatic time. But perhaps more particularly when you're aged over 40. Now, this is where these next two gentlemen might just inspire us. Greg Goudie, Executive Director of Dome, and one of your success stories, Adrian Wilson. Gentlemen, thanks for popping in.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure for having us.
Why is it so difficult when you lose your job and say you're over 40? That seems to be the magic number, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's still a lot of discrimination out there. A lot of employers still feel that they have to hire a younger person. They're mainly looking for some longevity. They want someone to stay in the job for a long time. But I think if they do look at the number of people, the younger people they hire these days, they're probably only there for 5 or 10 years, whereas a lot of older people will be there for 10 or 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, I thought when you said that, it's almost a contradiction, isn't it? You're going to get more permanency with a chap in his 40s than you would with some other guy that's perhaps more ambitious.
Yes, and we're all expected to work longer these days.
Yeah, can I ask a question? When you're putting your CV in, you can't lie about your age, but can you not mention your age? Is that acceptable?
Yes, in fact, you're not required to put your age on your resume. And a lot of people, they try to hide it by taking out dates and try and shorten up their work history and that. And I usually tell them that's very good, that'll work right up until the interview. And when you have to go and actually front up, then you don't actually look about 30, do you? So. And I just say, look, people or employers are only going to say, well, what else are you trying to hide? So whilst you don't put your age on there, you don't try and cover up your work history. I think it's very important that you show all the experience that you've had.
I get the impression that when you put in an application, if you're of a certain age, you don't get past first base, do you?
No.
That's the impression I get. I may be wrong.
Yeah, a lot of the people we deal with when they come in to register with us, they quite often say that they will have put in 200 applications and they might have got to 2 or 3 interviews. And that's usually the ratio, whereas quite often a younger person will at least get to the interview stage.
I've heard some people don't even have the courtesy to acknowledge that you've sent a letter, and I find that appalling.
Yeah, it's pretty much standard practice these days. In fact, a lot of applications will be only seen by a computer, and the computer will scan the resume and the application for certain words, and if it can't see the words that it's looking for, then they'll be skipped over.
So they're missing obviously some very, very fine employees.
Very much so, very much so. A lot of experience.
Yeah. Greg, let's talk about one of your stars here, star pupils, call it what you will, a very amiable fellow. Adrian, how did you get involved in Dome, and what was your story? You were retrenched or
yeah, I was retrenched, and then thought I'm going to retire, and then did the house. Then thought I'm bored. What am I going to do? And I, as Greg said, I put in lots of resumes, and I found out that I was losing out to the younger people, and I got a little bit frustrated. And that somebody said to me, why don't you contact Dome, and which is Don't Overlook Mature Age Experience, and guided by a few guys to tweak the CV, and yes, I got a job.
How were you feeling after putting in so many applications? Were you getting despondent?
That's one thing you do. You get a little bit frustrated, and it's something that probably, when you go and see Dome, they will put the positive spin on a lot of things for you, and you will walk out feeling positive when you've been up to Dome and talked to them about it, and you know that you're not the only person that this is happening to. Because you feel when you're alone at home putting in applications, you're struggling mentally, that it's all happening to you, it's not happening to anybody else. But when you go to Dome, you see all these other people, and the team are really good to assist you.
What period of time were you trying for jobs before you went and saw Greg and the team at
Probably 6 months. 6 months.
How many applications?
Oh God, I was putting in 3 or 4 applications a week.
How many interviews?
I got 2. And mainly specialist lending, because I was in home lending with finance in the bank for years.
So you weren't lacking experience?
No. In fact, the positions went to the younger people that I trained. So you go, gosh, Why?
Why did I train them so well? Oh, if only I'd known.
Well, yes, but you know, you've got to look at, you're working with a team and you want your team to do well, and you want everybody else to do well and get bonuses and things like that. So you always assist the younger people, but then it counts against you in the long run. But you know, it's something I started to accept that was going to happen until I contacted Dome.
You're obviously a smart bloke. You held down a very good job. Where were you going wrong before you got advice from Dome?
Well, I was looking at, and it may seem strange, I was looking at being in the same industry. And so the guys at Dome then said, why don't you look outside the square? There's more opportunities. And it changed around almost immediately. I now sell office stationery for All-Star Office Supplies. I hope I can put in a plug for them. And I'm working 3 days a week, 5 hours a day, loving it. And I never thought of selling stationery in my life. You know?
Well, you'd be a natural salesman anyway, I think. Probably a good singer also.
No.
We won't go there.
No, don't go there.
So you went to Dome.
Yeah.
You had a chat. You decided to look at another
Career path.
Yeah.
And,
How long did that take to before you got a job?
6-8 weeks.
As
Yeah.
opposed to 6 months or thereabouts,
Yeah,
getting
and-
knocked back.
And while you're in Dome, we're having some training lessons, looking at computer upgrading and your knowledge. So you're getting some positive action going in your life as well. You're seeing others in similar positions, and then the team at Dome are putting their positiveness. So you walk out of that building feeling a lot more positive than when you walked in. And that's part of.
That's important, isn't it?
That's right. Yes, very
yeah.
important.
How do people contact you, and what steps would you recommend they take, Greg?
Well, we're on the web. The website is, I think it'll come up at the end, dome.org.au.
Yep.
Or they can just call us, 84104344. And the only thing, all we expect them to do is to come in for an interview. And that's mainly for what Adrian talked about. We look for things that people can do outside of what they've done before. Because the majority of people that come to us, they either can't do or don't want to do what they were doing before. In some cases, that job doesn't exist anymore. So they've got to find something else. And that's the critical thing that we see, is giving people that other option of looking at outside of the box, as Adrian said. And
Could be a
at
new
something
lease
else.
on life anyway, doing something different
Absolutely.
out of the rut. more or
Yes. Yeah.
less. Is there an age limit? Or
No. Only over 40.
Yeah,
That's
fair
all we
enough.
look at. And we have people in their 70s that come to us. Most of the people that are with us are in their early 50s. And I think that's an issue we've got with employment at the moment, that there are a lot of people in their 50s that have got quite a lot to offer that are really, really struggling to get back into the workforce.
and the reason being predominantly their age.
That's really what it comes down to. Adrian is actually very fortunate because the average time that a mature age person is out of work is officially 66 weeks. So it's just over a year. Now that's the average. So there are a lot of people out there that might have been unemployed for 2 or 3 years. And the biggest impact that we note with them is their loss of confidence and lack of self-esteem. So there's a need to build that up.
Intriguing, and as you said, people can contact Dome. You might like to give the, oh there it is, we've got it there anyway. And you can contact Greg Goudie himself if you do so wish, but whatever you do, don't overlook mature expertise. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.